And so many people die with regrets. So many people die not being able to bring their full potential out to the world. So many people die just not fully living. I hope you're not one of those people. If you're listening to this podcast, you're definitely not one of those people. Today, we're going to be talking about how to create an amazing reality for yourself. If you did not know, you are a reality creator. You are not a victim of circumstance. This reality it's not just something that happened. The reality that you're sitting in is a reality that you created. That's the beautiful thing about this life, is that if you were born into what you were born into. Your parents did what they did. You have done what you have done, and you have gotten what you've gotten. And you've gotten what you've gotten based off of what you've done in the past. Simple, easy. And that puts you in power if you really want to be in power. And so we're going to talk about how to create the amazing future that you want. Before we do that, I do want to cover one thing. The hand that you were dealt in life. You were dealt a hand in life, whatever it was. Maybe it was the life that you wanted it to be. Maybe it wasn't the life that you wanted it to be. It doesn't matter whether you wanted it to be what it was or whether you didn't want it to be what it was. It's what you got. And it's not about what you're given. It's how you play the hand that you're dealt. If you were sitting there and, you were born poor and your parents struggled, you don't have to die poor. It's like the quote that says, if you were born poor, it's not your fault. If you die poor, it's your fault. If you have parents that had a terrible relationship and you watch them have, yelling and abuse and all of that stuff, that's what you were dealt. You can't do anything about what they did. You can't resist the past. You can't resist the way that they were, but you can look at it and say, you know what? I don't want that to be my future. And so I'm going to take every action that I can take to make sure that my spouse never feels the way that I saw my parents feel, that my kids never feel the way that I felt watching my parents do that. You were dealt a hand. The hand, if I'm being honest with you, doesn't matter. What matters is what you do right now in these current circumstances to then change the reality that you have next week, next month, next year, 10 years from now. That's a beautiful thing. You're literally, with every thought, with every action, with every interaction that you have, creating a reality for yourself. It's either going to be the same reality or it's going to be a new reality. It could be a worse reality if you take worse actions than you have in the past, or it could be a better reality if you take better actions than you have in your past to create that beautiful future. And there's a thing that Will Smith said in a Facebook and Instagram post not too long ago. And he said, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. So he said, if you were born poor, that's not your fault that you were born poor, but it is your responsibility to make sure that you bring in wealth and abundance for your family. It's not your fault that you were born poor. That's just the circumstances you were given. But the future has nothing to do with your poor situation that you were born into. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. If you were, had parents that got a divorce and you watched the divorce, it's not your fault that your parents got a divorce, but it is your responsibility to make sure that all of your relationships are in check. And that you and the person that you're in the relationship, whether that's you and your spouse, whether that's you and your friendships, whether that's you and your family, whether that's you and your children, that is your responsibility. Your parents' divorce is not your fault, but all of your relationships from that moment forward are your responsibility. You've got to go, you know what? It is my responsibility. I am going to take the blame, and I am going to make sure that I put myself into a place of power and I create the relationships that I want. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. And that's a beautiful thing because it puts you into such a place of power. So many people love to sit there and they love to act like they're the victim. Oh, my dad was an alcoholic. Like my dad was an alcoholic. He passed away when I was 15 from being an alcoholic. I can look at there and go, oh, my dad messed up and he, wasn't around when I was a kid and I didn't see him and he died when I was young. So I'm a victim of that. And we can play the victim card if we want to. You can play the victim card forever if you really want to, and that's fully your prerogative. But I know that's not what you want to do. If you're listening to this podcast, you don't want to live that life. I know you don't. So you can pick the victim mindset, the woe is me. Oh, my parents got a divorce. Oh, I didn't get the education that I wanted. Oh, I didn't grow up in a good part of town. I grew up with a bunch of people who were poor. I never saw what success was. You can use the victim mindset if you really want to. Or you can take the champion's mindset. And the champion's mindset says, you know what? Doesn't matter what my past looked like. Doesn't matter how I was treated. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to create the life that I want to. I'm going to create the life that I want to. I'm going to go for my goals. I'm going to go for my dreams. I'm going to create the future that I want, is literally saying I'm going to create a new reality. You are a reality creator. How amazing is that? You are in a place of so much power. For me to be able to go, you know what? I'm going to blame myself and no one else makes me feel like, you know what? That's awesome, because I'm in control of what happens. It's no longer someone else's fault. It's no longer blaming my parents or the government or my brother or sister or, the part of town that I grew up in or my aunt who was this way or my uncle who was that way. I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm going to turn the mirror on myself. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to say, hey, whatever becomes of your life is your fault. Let's go. When you do that, your life changes. And that's what's amazing about it, is you can literally create the life that you have. Look around you at your current reality. Everything that you have, where you are, where you live, how much money you have in your bank account, the relationships that you have, the car that you have, the house that you have, the relationship that you have with your family, the relationship that you have with your spouse, your significant other, with your parents. You created all of those. Whoa. That's kind of mind-blowing if you think about it, right? You created everything in your reality. The problem is that most people don't intentionally create that reality. They just wake up one day and they're like, I don't know what happened, but I don't like where I am, because there was no intention put behind it. It was more of reaction versus intention. You got to be proactive, not reactive in everything that you did. And you probably created your reality unintentionally. But what's beautiful about it is you can't unintentionally create from this moment on, because you are now aware of the fact that you are a reality creator. You're intentionally creating a reality every single moment from now on. You might have been asleep for the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it is. But now you're awake to the fact that you are the sole controller of where your reality goes from here. And you put all of the burden, all of the responsibility on your own shoulders, and you say, hey, you know what? Let's do this. No matter what the circumstances are, I'm not a victim. No matter what the circumstances are, I'm going to figure out. No matter what the circumstances are, no matter what comes at me in my future, I'm going to create this life that I want to, because I deserve it and I know that I can. I create my reality. This life is like a game. How cool is that? And you're just creating the next level every day. Every day is like a new level. And so the level that I'm creating for tomorrow, I'm building today. And then the level that I'm creating tomorrow, I'm building tomorrow, is creating the next day. I'm creating the reality. And if the reality doesn't change for 6 months, for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years, it's because I haven't been up-leveling myself. I haven't been trying to up-level the game. I literally try to look at this entire life that I live as when I wake up, it is a game. This business that I have, it's a game. My interactions, everything that I do wrong, everything that I do good, all of it's a game, and it's all a teacher. It's all a lesson for me to learn and grow and improve. When someone says something and I get triggered, it's a game. It is showing me when I'm triggered where I'm not free. Any place I'm triggered, I'm not free. And I want to remove the places where I'm not free. So you've got to step up to the plate at some point and be like, yeah, this is me. I'm going to get out of the passenger seat. I'm going to jump into the driver's seat. That's what I want to do. I want to be the person that's driving. So many people go through life and they never fully step up. Are you going to fully step up? Are you going to stop blaming other people? Are you going to stop blaming your past? Are you going to stop blaming your parents? Stop blaming your circumstance? Stop blaming your spouse? Stop blaming your children for not having enough time? Are you going to stop blaming everyone else and say, you know what? I'm going to fully step up and take full responsibility. There's a lot of people, everybody. Everybody listening right now knows at least one person. You can look at their life and say, man, what a waste, right? They had so much talent. They had so much potential. There's so much they could have done, but they just didn't. They didn't know that they could have broken free. They didn't know that they weren't a victim of their circumstances. They didn't know that they were creating the reality every single day. And they didn't know that just with a couple different choices, with a couple different actions, they could have created a life that was vastly different than what they had. And they got to the end of their life and they didn't create themselves into what they could have. And so many people die with regrets. So many people die not being able to bring their full potential out to the world. So many people die just not fully living. I hope you're not one of those people. If you're listening to this podcast, you're definitely not one of those people. It's literally like magic. You're creating every single moment. It's like the rabbit out of the hat at every single moment. Boop, new reality. Boop, new reality. Boop, new reality. And you realize it's like a game, and it's like the universe or God or source or whatever it is you want to believe is literally trying to play this game with you. Hey, I'm going to see today if you're really committed to your business. And in that committed to your business, I'm going to give you some challenges. And if you give up, you're going to give up on your business. But if you get through this challenge I'm going to present to you, I'm going to present you with a reward 2 weeks down the road with a new customer or something like that. It's like a game that I get to play with the creator every single day to come out to my true potential. That's the way that I see it. And it makes it a lot more fun for me that way. It's magic. That's the cool thing about it. What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about how it won't work? Are you thinking about how you're not good enough? Are you thinking about how you're not smart enough, how you're not qualified, how you're not old enough? Are you thinking about how you're too old? Are you thinking about how your new boyfriend or girlfriend might break up with you? You think about how your business isn't going the way that you want to. Whatever you think about most, you will get. So if you think my business isn't going the way that I want to, it's going to continue to go the way that you don't want it to. If you're thinking about how it won't work out, I guarantee you it probably won't work out. If you think about how you're not enough, you're going to get all of the examples and proof in your life of how you're not enough. Your job is to switch the story that's going on in your head. At all points in time, you have a story. It's like listening to the same song over and over and over and over and over again. And then when you turn the song off, what happens? You continue to sing it, you continue to sing it, you continue to sing it. You've been singing a song in your head most likely that isn't lining up with the future that you want. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Well, it's going to be really hard for you to go and create this amazing future if you're constantly beating yourself up and being an asshole to yourself in your head and talking shit to yourself at every single moment, talking trash and talking trash and talking trash. It's really hard to create an amazing life and an abundant future when you can't stop talking trash to yourself, right? So you've got to switch the story that's going on in your head, because thoughts are things. Thoughts go out past your physical body, out into the universe, and create something. There's actually a machine called an MEG machine, which literally, there's an EEG, which goes on top of your head. There's little electrodes that go on your head. The MEG machine actually goes above your head and doesn't ever touch your skull, and can still pick up electrical signals from your brain outside of your skull, which means that your thoughts don't even stay inside of your head. They go out into the universe. So you better start getting really clear on the thoughts that you want to have, the song that you want to be repeating in your head. If I have a song that I don't like, if the Macarena is playing over and over and over and over and over again in my house, I'm going to freaking find out how to turn it off on Spotify. Why don't I do the exact same thing in my head of you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb, you look like shit, you look like shit, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat. If that's playing over and over again, change the station, change the song. Pick up that mental Spotify and change it to whatever song you want to. You have the power to, and your thoughts are creating the reality that you have. Thoughts turn into actions, actions turn into results. It's very simple. Your thoughts turn into actions, your actions turn into results. What are your thoughts? What are your actions? Because those are going to change or continue to get the exact same results in your life. And hopefully, you're thinking and acting the way that you want to create the life that you want to. You can continue to think the way that you don't want to think if you want. And that's fully your prerogative. But guess what? You're going to get more of the exact same stuff. If you think about what you don't want, guess what you're going to get more of? What you don't want. Wow, that's a groundbreaking thing there. I will get what I think about most. What am I thinking about most? I'm thinking about what I don't want. It's like going, you know what? There's a car crash on the side of the road. Don't hit the car, don't hit the car, don't hit the car, don't hit the car. Boom. You hit the car. They always say, like, if you're going through a racetrack, even if you're on just a simple go-kart racetrack and you're driving, they tell you before you get in, if somebody crashes, don't look at the crash. Look past the crash. Look at where you want to go. Don't look at the crash, because if you're looking at the crash, you're going to hit it. How many of us are sitting there and quote unquote looking at the crash that we don't want to hit every freaking day? And then what do? Boom, hit it. Whenever you're going to motorcycle school, they tell you to look through the turn. Don't look at where you're going. Look at where you want to go. Are you mentally looking at where you want to go, or are you just looking at where you don't want to go all the time? If you keep talking about where you don't want to go, I guarantee you're going to go there. Stop talking about what you don't want. Start talking about what you do want. Start making plans on how to get what you want, how to create that. You've got to figure out how to get what it is that you want. And it starts with your thoughts. Then it goes into your actions, and your actions go into your results. Your thoughts and your actions create your reality. How wild is that? You're literally a magician. That's freaking amazing. Like, how talented are you that you're just bloop, rabbit out of a hat, bloop, rabbit out of a hat, bloop, rabbit out of a hat. That's amazing. But if you're unintentionally doing it, you're probably looking around you and going, well, this isn't amazing right now. This isn't what I wanted. I got a ugly rabbit. I wanted a better looking rabbit. Change your thoughts, change your actions, change your results, and you will create a magical reality. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to learn even more about mastering your mind, click right here and watch this video as well. You have no one else to blame except for yourself for how your life is right now. And that's a fact. That is actually a fact.